Alright, this is geared toward the Ruger P95 owners out there. This is a couple tips to help you if you're new to this particular gun, to help you shoot better with it. Now there's nothing real crazy about this gun. It's a standard design, so most of the tips are basically geared towards basic fundamentals and not so much the specifics of the design. It's a standard operating semi-automatic with the standard grip angle, weight and feel, and standard sight, so there's nothing special about it. The one thing to watch out for is you have this dead trigger space you can see right here. The trigger has a lot of slop on it up until you get to the sear. Then after that, it's a pretty clear break. The reset is also pretty consistent. You can see the reset every time. There's really no inconsistencies to that. Now one thing that'll get you in trouble accuracy wise when you're shooting the P95 is if you do what a lot of people do, and I see it on the range all the time. They load their weapon, they get ready to shoot it, they put the finger on the trigger like this, and they just squeeze. Usually what that happens when that is done, your sight will dip down, because when you're doing that, you're pulling the trigger fast, you're anticipating a little bit recoil. That's going to pull your shots low and sometimes low right or low left, depending on where your finger is on the trigger. I recommend you use the middle of your first pad to get that nice straight back motion on this rocking style trigger. And I say rocking style because you have a rocking style and a straight pullback style. The straight pullback style of triggers is normally found on the 1911s. This is the rocking where you see it rock on a pivot point right here in the frame. Now to get away from that just grabbing the trigger and going and getting your P95 off target, when you're ready to fire, put the middle of your finger, middle of the first pad of your finger on the trigger, take up that free dead trigger slot up until you get against the sear. Then just apply pressure in an even manner. The gun will fire, it'll probably go off as a surprise, and there you go, you've put your round on target. With that, you need to have good follow-through. Good follow-through is important on a Ruger P95, just like it is with any other semi-automatic. One of the things that's going to ruin your shot consistency is even if you do this right, you squeeze, 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 bang, gun goes off. If you just let your finger off the trigger like this, you've ruined your consistency, because now you have to reestablish your contact with the trigger, which might be in a slightly different spot, and it's going to pull your shots off, especially at longer range distances like 50 or 100 yards. So take up that slack, fire your shot. It should go off as a surprise. The gun will recoil. Keep the trigger pulled to the rear. Let off the trigger just enough to re-engage the sear. Fire again, just like so. If you practice that, you'll find that your shots are going to be more and more consistent. Most everybody knows about the sight picture. I'll go ahead and demonstrate here the best I can. Let's see if I can do it here through the viewfinder. There's my sight picture, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and do a single action trigger squeeze to show you that the sight should not move when done correctly. Let me get my picture lined up here. There we go. There. Sorry it took a while. I just had to make sure. This is a small viewfinder, so I want to try and get at least a decent sight picture so I show you guys what it's supposed to look like. But you can see when the trigger went off, my front sight didn't dip down. It didn't go to the side like this. Didn't go up. It stayed pretty much right there. So that's pretty much it. Just a couple little pointers with the Ruger. It's a very soft recoiling handgun. For those of you that haven't shot one yet, very, very mild recoil for a 9mm. 9mm don't recoil that bad in my opinion anyway, but for 9mm standards, this is pretty soft recoiling. You can see in the videos that I have, my 100-yard videos with it, it doesn't recoil much at all. It's actually a pleasure to shoot. Very easy to pick up on the nuances. The grip angle is good, just like any other autoloader. There's no real quirks. The trigger, even though it has that slop on it, It's still a smooth and pretty consistent trigger once you get past that initial slot. So just take that into account. And I recommend starting off practicing at like 10, 15 yards. When you get used to the feel of it, get out to 25 yards, 50 yards, and then go ahead and go 100. And you'll be able to shoot this at 100. There's no special trick to it. Just get out there and practice. And if anything, it's nice to know being able to shoot a pistol at 100 yards. It's not a great feat. There's guys out here on YouTube that shot pistols at 200 yards. But shooting a pistol like this, it's nice to know that in an emergency situation, you would be able to reach out and touch somebody at 100 yards if there was no other alternative. If anything, this isn't super precision at 100, but at least if anything, you know you can put damn good suppressive fire down at 100 yards with it. So I'll go ahead and stop the video. If anybody has any questions, feel free to leave them. Or if you have a video with any tips and tricks of your own regarding the P95, or just some things in general, feel free to make a video. I'll approve it as a video response. So thank you for watching.